And we are today here on the 20th of October 2021 at 3:41 p.m. We are right here broadcasting to you live from France and Singapore to the rest of the world, particularly to Asia, Indo-Pacific, and to America, and in the midst of the pandemic. Edward, I mean, we are joined together in the same destiny. How strange the world has been. Edward, I'm so glad to have you here in Singapore. Welcome to Singapore, Edward.
Thank you, Vicky. I'm very fine, thank you. I'm really pleased to talk to you. It's been a long time we didn't speak together.
You know, Edward, I am so good. It is a very, very difficult time for humanity. It is difficult because I always say, you know, we are tied together now in a podcast world, in the digital world, because the pandemic has actually accelerated technology, disrupted the world, disrupted our way of lives, but yet he has joined our lives together. You know, if something happens in France, Singapore adopts the French policy. And if Singapore has a good case of COVID-19 control, you know, the rest of the world is happy, right? I mean, it's always like a mirror. Something happens in America, it goes to Europe. And it goes to Europe, it goes down under to Australia, to New Zealand, to Indo-Pacific. I mean, nothing has disrupted the world then we talked about the Spanish flu before, we talked about the Black Death before, you know, in Europe, but you know, nothing has happened in humanity in the world than COVID-19. It ties our fate together, and my heart goes out to the people of France, Europe, and worldwide as we are looking at the numbers. Over 4.7 million people has really died. They've crossed over to the other side so that we can live. So, you know, Edward, I come to you and come to the rest of the world and doing this podcast with a heart of gratitude, with a heart of thanks that we are still alive and that we can still plan ahead. And also many people are suffering in a pandemic because of economy. They lose their jobs, they lose their business, they lose their lives, they lose their health. And for me to be able to talk to Edward, you know, I am so filled with this heart of gratitude to be able to connect our lives together. Edward, tell us about yourself, Edward. And you know, and your revelations about this pandemic, Edward.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. So my name is Édouard. I live in Bordeaux. I'm a French native. I'm 50 years old. I'm a father of a beautiful princess of 40-year-old girl. And so I'm a loan broker here in Bordeaux and around all the France. As soon as it's 70 years now that I am working as a loan broker. And yes, all that we have been through now from 2 years on is real tough for the business, for sure, but more important for our personal lives. It will remain me as a hard experience, but I think we can get through it and we can get out even stronger. And I'm a positive guy. I always keep the positive experience, the positive side of life. And I think if like you said, if we're talking together today, it's the most important thing for me. So that's what I keep in mind.
Edward, I just want to repeat what you say. It's so important. The humanity, the fate of the world is tied in one. And, we're really talking about this world, even the data, it does not have any faces to the data. If you look, right, it's just numbers. And that tells us the fragility of life, Edward. But I think that 2020 has been such a huge awakening for humanity. I mean, the world is locked down. 70% of the planes are locked, and for me, I'm still not getting up the plane. I'm still a risk averse. I don't take a lot of risk in terms of life. I take it very seriously. But I think 2021 and 2022, somehow we have to win the battle. We have to. We have to win the battle for the people who have sacrificed their lives. And for me to invite you here really is such a miracle. And we want to bring hope that life can go on. It can be difficult, but let's try to plan ahead amidst the uncertainties. And I would like to tell everyone, and also Edward and the viewers, the property has really gone through the roof in Singapore because the prices has gone up. Because when there is a midst of uncertainties, Edward, there is a practice that, people are pulling back from investment from the stocks market, from the bourse. They are going to long-term investment. They're investing in houses, in immobilier, in investissement mobilier. The prices of Singapore has gone up, and so have the prices in London. The prices in America have all gone up because people think long-term, a long-term investment, and not putting the money in stocks for like 1 year, 2 years. So that's why I think today we can give some hope and positive hope to the rest of the world. And myself, a little bit of history to Edward, and a little bit of history to the audience in America and Asia. France is still a very attractive place for investment because the prices are slow. It doesn't fluctuate, but it's slowly going up. It has an element of stability. So it's slow, but it's going up, and it's really a safe place for long-term investment and not for speculation, not for people to go in and come out quickly. It's something that gives people stability and assurance of the mind. And I would like to testify that, even though there's a lot of bureaucracy in France, and I've gone through a lot of paperwork for my investment in apartments and in land, and building of houses, but the amount of papers, right? I would say that if we are patient as a foreigner to go through the papers, actually the papers go to protect many parties, the buyers, the investors, the sellers, the builders, and also someone like professional like Edward. It goes to safeguard all sorts of scenarios, all sorts of uncertainties, and all sorts of unpredictability. I mean, it goes to show for me, as I go and learn through this, it does give me a lot of assurance, Edward, as opposed to if I go to a third world country, there's no paper. I mean, that kind of scares me, right? I mean, when am I buying in? So if I compare that, Edward, for a foreigner who comes in, I mean, we get shocked with the amount of papers. But if you look at it on the other side, everything has got two sides, right? If you learn through and if you get through that patience of the bureaucracy, and if you're patient enough and to know that this is a long-term investment, right? The other side is safe. Now that is very, very important. You don't get the kind of volatility in France. So Edward, am I right to say that?
Yeah, you're right. It's safe. So it's safe in the long term. And as just said it, if you are aware that invest in France, so invest if you got to make a loan in a French bank, it will be kind of hard, not real hard, but it would be
all the papers.
Yeah, big administrative job. So, but this kind of job is part of my job. So I can try to relieve you from this negative part of investment in France through a bank. But you're right. We are in a real administrative world, especially in France, especially with the French banks, and you will never avoid it. Okay. Mm. Also, of course, if you pay in cash your investment in France, you will not meet this kind of problem. But you're right, it's the only, I could say, negative part of investing in France with the bank. But on the other side, the interest rates are so low in France concerning the bank, and the rentability in the long term, in the long way of real estate investment are so high compared to all kind of investment you can do in France and maybe throughout the world, that you've got to do it. If you can do it, you've got to do it, because in France, we are so far from pricey, even in Paris, compared to London, to Tokyo, compared to even to Berlin, so to New York, of course. It's a real good investment.
And you know why I am here, important for you and important for the viewers, because I myself I put my money there, right?
Yeah.
And now
you're the proof of it.
Yeah, my proof of it, and my project is still empty there with Cogedim, you know. But you know, now that we've got summary about what we're going to talk about, a few questions that I'm interested in, a lot of people interested in. Why France in terms of the different kinds of projects, number one, and then the interest rates, different amount of investment, what are the rates and for how many years, and also your service. I think we can try to encapsulate that in our conversation for the next 15 minutes. Tell us, you know, myself to relate to a lot of the viewers, you know, Singapore, Asia, the number one investment for us, Richard, Edward, is that the number one investment is not in cars, branded Chanel or LV, right? Those are nothing. The number one real investment is property, patrimoine, right? Patrimoine, yes. Apartments, houses, condos, and there are so many different kinds of property in France, real estate. We've got apartment, we've got commercial, we've got the walls of a commercial, we've got cluster as in a house with 3 different addresses, with 3 different water bills. That's a good investment, right? And we've got buying of the land and to build, and we've got investing in the loft, investing in cave, investing in hangars, investing in factories. You know, Edward, I'm an expert because I've done all this. Yeah, in terms of research, but you know, in terms of investing for the financial, you're the expert. Now tell us, like, on yourself, what are the attractiveness for each of the categories that I've talked about?
So you've got so many categories, it's hard to sum up in only 15 minutes. So to be constructive and synthetic, so you can invest in flats or in houses or in lands, just as you say. So in flats, you've got 2 categories, just like houses. You've got new houses, so you only buy it with plans. The house or the flat is not built yet, and you only buy it through a brochure, a commercial brochure, and you can see the plans. So it's what we call the VFA,
Yes.
VEFA.
Yes.
Just I guess that's what you did. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So the thing is, for overseas investors, it's not the best way, because you know, this kind of investments, the prices are a little bit higher compared to old real estate. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's higher because where you're a French investor, you've got tax interests, so you pay less taxation on your income, and etc. But still, some overseas investor can buy also new houses or new flats. Compared to that, you got so old real estate, which is, according to me, the best way to invest in France, Bordeaux, Paris, Marseille, wherever you want. And so you don't have to deal with any travel, how do you say, construction. So the building is already prepared to be rent. So it's the best way for me, because it's less expensive compared to new construction. Okay.
And I can say that, Edward, you should tell us more about these options of these old houses. You know, houses which are stone houses, houses which have vineyards, houses which are in the city, outside the city. Can you try to compare some of these in Bordeaux where you are?
So, to be honest, when you want to buy in Bordeaux, especially when you're foreign investors, I would advise you to invest right in downtown Bordeaux, or just around the suburbs around Bordeaux. Because if you go too far from Bordeaux, the location market will be different compared to Bordeaux downtown or Bordeaux in its neighbor suburbs. Okay. Yeah. So my piece of advice would be to invest in Bordeaux downtown. Okay.
Yeah. Two questions. Number one, buying to rent and buying for holiday, right? Buying for your own self, right? For your family, for holiday. Tell us about, if someone like in the US with like with 300,000 euros, okay. And I know the prices are going up, right? With 300,000, 5 years ago, you can get a good deal. But now the prices have gone up, right? Maybe with €500,000 euros, between 300,000 to 500,000, what can one investor buy, okay, in the heart of Bordeaux and outside the banlieue, at the outside of Bordeaux?
No, as a start, here in Bordeaux and around Bordeaux, you can start with an investment just around 150,000 euros. You've got a studio, so a one room or a two-room flat. You can buy this kind of apartments in Bordeaux. So you can see that the first prices are real low compared to what you just say. And if you are ready or in the capacity, because you got the cash, or you can make a loan in a bank in France, to go up to 300,000 or €500,000, you got real great opportunities to make just genius investments.
You know what? You are making me want to buy a ticket right now. You know, my husband and I were just talking about France last night, about should we go back or should we divest, leave France, because of the COVID situation. Tell us, Bordeaux is such a beautiful, beautiful place. I mean, it's really one of the most beautiful places I've been. The Bordeaux city, and also you've got the vineyards, the wine, Saint-Emilion. I've went to research all the way from Bordeaux. So the banlieue, of course, to Pessac, and then I used to stay in Arcachon, La Teste, and my friends are all in Kazoo. And I even went to Libourne to look at some of the houses, which is like so good. The prices, with like what you say, 150,000, I can get a good house in Libourne, and it's quiet. It's quiet. You don't have people in the street. It's like a small Bordeaux, right? And it's still so beautiful.
It's not, it's just only 40, 50 kilometers away from Bordeaux, Libourne.
And you when the pandemic, you don't want you want to have the option of staying in Bordeaux and also going out of Bordeaux.
But Vicky, I just stop you right now, because that's the point where when you're foreign investors or even investor not from Bordeaux, the example you just quoted is really significant, because if you want to invest, by example, in Libourne, so if you want to live in Libourne or for your holidays, it's wonderful. It's not far from Bordeaux. It's just in the middle of the vineyards. It's real charming. But if you are an investor, investing in Libourne is not that easy. No, it's not zero, but it's the risk is more important, because the renters, the people who will live and you rent your apartment to these people, the risk is higher compared to people who rent in Bordeaux. So it's really important when you want to invest in Bordeaux or in some other cities in France, to got a local speaker just like me or other professional to be sure that your investment is safe.
That's very good. Yeah, and that's very professional of Edward. So ladies and gentlemen, that's Edward Loubes, right? I mean, he tells you the truth, right? That's most important. And in Bordeaux, you used to have like 4 universities, right? Bordeaux 1, 2, 3, 4, and with all the different medical schools, the business school, the art schools, which I used to study, University Michel de Montaigne, where I learned my French. Even in all these universities in combined, you've almost got like 60,000 students, and with the business schools and with the art schools and the hotel schools in Bordeaux, you've got almost 100,000 of students just trying to rent your property. And for me, my condo, so I will have people just telling me, Vicky, I want your apartment, and you have introduced a friend to me, but I didn't want to rent out because I want to just be a place where I can go back anytime. Even though it's in the pandemic, I don't know what's going to happen, so I want to keep it vacant and empty. But there are so many people, when you want to rent, you get 40 calls a day. People are queuing up for your apartment.
Because what is important to know, because there are some people, I don't know if your community is like that, but in France, some people want to buy the house or the apartment most of the times, and they are ready to rent it through Airbnb.
Oh yes, it's allowed in France. Yeah.
So you rent it whenever you want, whenever you want, and then you can use it for yourself to make it on your own. In Bordeaux, attention, you can do that. You cannot do that, because the city of Bordeaux doesn't want this kind of no. So you cannot buy a flat, buy an apartment, and just say, okay, I will rent it through Airbnb. In Bordeaux downtown, it's forbidden. Okay, so if you want to use it for your own, the best way, according to me, is to rent it, just like you said, maybe to some students. So only 6 or 7, maximum 8 months a year. And you keep it for your own, for your vacation, by example, 3 or 4 months a year.
Wow, that's a good advice from you. And besides that, you know, you're looking at two kinds of potential investors. Someone like myself, you know, I actually wanted to, my aim is to actually build a business, right? In Bordeaux, for my chambre d'hôte, you know, for my, in a real kind of business whereby I can expand and employ the French people. And also for myself, you know, vacation, for a holiday. And a lot of Singaporeans, right? They are the serious investors. They go there, they invest, and immediately they want to see the returns, ROI, and for the rentability. There is another category like myself. They are now usually investing in London because in London, they speak English and they go there for holiday. A lot of the times, like what you say, it's vacant or they can rent out just for a couple of months, but usually the objective is really for themselves. So yeah, so Edward, you're looking at like two groups of potential clients, right? Potential clients. So like for Bordeaux, for people like myself, Singaporeans, Americans, Asians, they like that part of buying a house whereby they think, wow, I can come here once a month, I can come here twice a month, summer and winter. What's the attractiveness of Bordeaux?
You mean if you want to make it for your own, not just like an investor?
Two categories. Let's talk about the first type, someone like myself, right? What's the attractiveness of buying a house in Bordeaux, either in Bordeaux inside or Bordeaux in the banlieue, you know, in Pessac or in Marignac. And then we can talk about the returns for those serious investors purely for monetary money returns. Yeah.
Okay. So the first category for people just like you who want to make the most of your living for your own, not in the investor vision. Bordeaux is so attractive, you know, it's, so you just said it a little bit later, it's among the vineyards, it's 1 hour away from the sea, from the Atlantic Ocean. You've got surfing spots, you've got huge beaches, it's so huge and it's so charming. It's only 2 hours with car from skiing from the Pyrenees Mountains.
Wow.
So it's now 2 hours with the TGV with train from Paris only. So even if Bordeaux is not the main part of France, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's really accessible to every part of France. I mean, Bordeaux has everything, right? To think about. It has Bordeaux is beautiful. It has La Garonne. You have the river, the fleuve with the huge cruises, the beautiful ship that come in. Then you have the dune. Then you have the forest. Then you have camping, and then you have Arcachon, then you have Biscar. I mean, it's like, okay, I need to get out of the COVID.
We've got everything here. We've got everything.
I'm the best person to be selling Bordeaux, right? Because it's like, that's the dream.
We've got everything and with a low price.
Low price,
attractive
and it has
price.
the wine vineyard, and it's at Saint-Emilion, and then you can get the best foie gras from the region. And you've got the best food and the wine and the cafe and the chocolat and the chocolate and the macarons. I mean, the list just goes down. It's like, I'm just thinking, I must take a flight back.
And we could add that Bordeaux, compared to Paris or Singapore or some huge cities, is what I could call a human city. You see,
Yes,
it's
yes.
it's not tiny city. It's a small city, but it's a human city. You
Yeah.
can do many things. So with the tramway, with bicycles, by walking.
Wow. Well,
You know,
that's
yeah, that's
plus
wonderful. It's not the
good
pollution.
infrastructure. Yep.
The pollution is real low,
Yep.
and the quality of life
Oh,
is
quality
real
of life.
great.
Oh my God. It's like, Edward, my heart is just like, oh, I'm flying there right now. I must tell my husband, like, just F the COVID. Now let's get on with our lives. You're right. For anyone like a Singaporean or an American with a cash, they can come to you with a good loan, and you can tell us about the procedures of a loan. And if we can't finish our conversation, you can always come back to tell us the exact procedures. So you're getting me so excited. Now because for someone like myself, I'm a Singaporean. I don't stay in France forever. I go there 2 months and I come back 1 month. I go back 2 months, I come back 1 month. I just utilize my visa, right?
Yeah.
And because I'm there as a professional investor to build my business, I've got a professional visa there. And it's so good for someone with children. During summer, they're studying here in Singapore, but during summer, they can go there for an art class. Then they can come back to Singapore to continue their studies. They can go there to learn French, and then they can come back. There's so much things to do, and they can go there to look at the theater, right? And they can go back. Oh my God, it's like, oh my God. Edward, there's so much things to do.
Vicky, just to be precise, so for people just like you or some other people in the community around you who want to take the most of your
investment
flight or your house, so my piece of advice would be to buy right in Bordeaux downtown, or 1, 2, maximum 5 kilometers from the center point of Bordeaux, because you can do whatever you want when you go in Bordeaux in vacation. For the people who would see it as an investment, a pure investment, so who are looking for the best rentability, my piece of advice would be to buy around Bordeaux. Why? Because the prices downtown Bordeaux are not so far.
The ROI,
are higher compared to maybe Pessac or Talence or Gradignan, and which are real nice cities just around Bordeaux. 15 minutes to 10 minutes away with the bus only, and the prices are lower, and so the rentability is higher. So that's my piece of advice. But
I think that's true.
Ask me when some people around you want, and I will advise them.
I think you're right. I mean, for someone who looks at France, there is so many options, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where for someone who are looking at investing, they could invest in one, and then they could invest in second and third. And with your service, definitely the first point of contact for the first investment, and then probably will be second. For me, I'm already looking at the second and third and the fourth investment. Like yourself, you know that I bought a land in Pessac. And there are certain places that is appealing to different people, right? And there's sufficient of options for different people. And if we're talking about like the banlieue, just the outside of the city of Bordeaux, I think Pessac is good, but also Bigel.
Bègle, yeah. I am living. I'm talking to you right now from Bègle. Yeah.
Well, okay, tell us about your latest home investment. Tell us about your experience.
We just, with my wife, made the most of the attractiveness of Bordeaux. So before we had a big flat with 3 storage, and we just sold it out to a Parisian couple who want to make their living in Bordeaux. And so we just bought a big house, but a big house with a big garden, because we have a big dog. But Bègle, so it's my personal experience, so it is for our living everyday living. It's
I
not.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Tell us about the sufas. Sufas the habitation.
So the habitation square meters are 150 square meters for habitation, and the garden is 900 square meters.
Oh wow!
With a swimming pool.
Swimming pool. Oh my God!
Yeah.
It's like this is what dreams are made of, right? You want to have your own swimming pool, right? And not go to the public swimming pool.
No.
Never in COVID.
And you see what I just said compared to some huge cities just like Paris and Bègle, where I am living, is on. I can go down. I can go in your flat. So downtown in Bordeaux, it's
the
only
tram.
The tram, and best
so
of it,
fast.
And best of it, Vicky, I can go. It's only 15 up to 20 if I am slow with bicycle. So so it's your human city, and you can do so many different things without the car, and it's magic.
Yeah, it is. My husband and I, we took the tram to Back, and then we went there for shopping. There was a huge shopping the Centre de Commercial, or Centre de Commercial de Back.
Centre commercial de Mont.
Yeah. So I love that. You got the H&M, you've got all the international brands, right?
Yeah, that's
right.
It.
I mean, which people like myself as a woman, we love the shopping. So it's like what you say. I think what's important to boil down today, Edward, is the prices. It's really affordable for land and house, and you can have a good selection of property. And the thing is that because as a foreigner, we would need to feel safe for the investment. And I would say you need to have someone who is professional like Edward, and also the papers, which is a lot, but actually that keeps us safe. It's a long process, but I think a long process keeps us safe also, because you don't want to rush and sign, and then at the end you don't know what you get. Can you imagine if you go to some third world countries, they just want you to sell and then sign and say bye and take your money. Now that's a red flag to a lot of people. We should not rush through an investment. For myself, I spent a long time in France, like Edward, I learned French because I'm serious about investing in France. I want to make sure the papers I sign, and people are patient enough. Like Edward, I've been with you for the last 4 years, I think, including 2020. People are patient to sit through 3 hours, just go through page by page. And then France has a legal obligation for advantage to buyers, is that you are given 11 days to change your mind. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. When you make a loan in France, you've got 11. When you've got a final loan contract, you've got 11 days to say no, to say I quit, or I'm going to another.
No questions asked.
No. You're free to do that.
That's
but
okay.
We can say to your community that also it's a patient work to get a loan even when you're French. So when you're a foreign investor, it's maybe a little bit longer. But just to give an example, you can, even if you're a foreign international investor, you can make your loan contract in a period of 3 months, maximum. Because if just like you are well organized with
all the papers,
with a professional intermediate people just like me, we will structure your file, and we will help you to communicate with the bank and so on. It's quite easy. It's not that difficult.
That's why we need a person like you, because you are bilingual. It's bilingual. It's very hard for us to go to someone who's bilingual, and for us to be patient, for yourself, very patient to go through the papers. And when I needed an attestation, you immediately write, you were fast to react. That's something that we need, because we need someone like you. And that's a testimony from myself. I've been with Edward for the last 4 years. He's been such a good professional friend, and is always answering to my emails. And you can trust that he gives the best, honest, transparent answers, because we want to be transparent. And I think one thing about the bureaucracy is not something we can control, because it's by the government, by the regulations. Not even the French locals can control it, right? You have to go through that. However, I would think that having someone like you as an intermediary really clarify the process, you actually shorten the amount of headache, the amount of mental stress for an international person, and that you are able to have this bilingual interaction that I really appreciate, Edward.
Yeah, thank you, Vicky. It's very helpful for international investors just like you, because there are so many people when you buy a flat in France.
Yeah.
So you can have the real estate agency, you can add the people who sell their apartments or their house. You've got the notary, you've got the bank. So it's so many people around you. And when you are a foreigner, it can appear just not maybe risky, but stressful.
Yeah, and that's why choosing a person as an intermediary is so important. And one thing I want to explain to the international audience and myself, for the French, even for agent d'immobilier, right? They never push anyone to buy a property. They will leave all the papers to you, you decide. And that's what is good for us, because we don't have someone to say, buy now, do it now, sign now. That's professional. My experience with buying an old property is that there's an obligation by the sellers to have the diagnostics papers. Yeah. And that's legal. And that, to me, it's one thing that I need to tell everyone is so important. It's a legal document. And for us, it is an assurance. It's transparent. You can see all the diagnostics. You can present it to the notaire to say that, hey, this is a cross, this is a tick, why it is red. And if there's a termite, there's mold, there's a problem with the roof, you need to do this. Everything is transparent. You know what you're buying. I mean, which other country has that, Edward? I've never been to a country that has that. So it's totally like positive. It's an advantage. It's like that's perfection for a foreigner who's looking at property, and there's no cost to the buyer, because we need to see what you are looking at. It's not just the structure, the house, the design, but what goes into behind the walls. And that's to me is perfect, Edward.
No, you're right. It's a positive side of our
investing,
of our administration.
Yes.
But you're right. It's safer for you. It's safer for any investor.
Of course.
It's a little bit bigger
procedure.
Yeah. According that, but
it's good for us. It goes to safeguard.
It
goes to safeguard an investor. And why am I saying this? Because number one, ladies and gentlemen, and Edward, I'm not an agent. I'm just speaking from my own experience. It's like, I talk about this with my husband. You meet me more than you've only seen my husband once, like 30 minutes. He leaves everything to me. That's why I need to study everything and report to him. And my experience is, when I go to a house, this is the procedure you do, ladies and gentlemen. You go to a house, you look at a house, you like the house. You may not like the house, but it's not the wall or the paint that makes a house. You can always paint a wall, but you have to know what goes into the wall and the ground, the infrastructure, the roof, and around the house. So to me, the diagnostics, a legal document, is so important for if anyone would like to look for you, could you give us your email? Like, tell us your email. Can you repeat your email?
I can. Sure. Thank you, Vicky. So my email is e.loubes @aura FINANCE, aurafinance.fr.
Yeah, and anyone would like to repeat that email can always click, right? Can always repeat and always write it down, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, Edward, for the next 10 seconds, is there anything you would like to conclude and summarize?
The first thing of all is to say thank you to you, Vicky, for inviting me. It's a great pleasure for the invitation to talk to you. It's
My
been
friend.
a long time. I can see with your smile that you're in good health, and it's the best point for me. And tell all your friends, your family, your community that if they have any question, not only for the bank, for the location, for the notary, for the agency, for anything about that, they can send me an email. We can make a video Zoom just like right here, and it will be a pleasure. My human experience, I'm just eager to know new people just like you, and it will be a pleasure to give them pieces of advice and to know them.
Yeah, you're right. You know, Edward, I thank you so much. You know, just speaking with you, that energy that we have, it gives me that going back to the dream of, you know, a business in France. You know, I'm still really, I need to come back to you for my dream. If COVID goes down, you know, I'm still looking for chambre de tot, but maybe just buy it. You know, the good thing about France is that they've got this vehicle called SCI, whereby you can have like 4 people, and then we can buy a hotel together, and then maybe like a 4-story or 5-story
Yeah.
hotel, you know, there's so many hotels there, like the all-suite hotel, Pichet, you know, there's so many different, just by the beach. Can you imagine? You know, hey, Edward, you should
so many things to do in Bordeaux. So many things to do in Bordeaux for you.
Definitely, you should join me. You know, and I would try to, and that is the dream, right? A 4-story building with 20 rooms, with a swimming pool, with spa, and with a hammock for women, safe. You know, something that's really safe. It's very important. Not even for the public, but for a very exclusive group of people, you know, through exclusive channel of booking. I think the world is looking towards that, like very exclusive. And then through that kind of membership, you know, that's still my vision. And I definitely have to come back to you, Edward, and to build my spa, my restaurant in my hotel.
Vicky, the sooner will be the better. Come back soon in Bordeaux.
Salute. Yes, sir. We will be coming back and meeting you very soon.
You will be very welcome.
I will talk to you. Thank you so much for the 1 hour of explanation to the international audience, to myself. You know, it makes it easy for me also when I ask my friend, hey, do you want to invest in Bordeaux together? Let's have this dream of like getting an investment with someone like Edward. We don't have to be afraid of the language and the papers and the bureaucracy. Thank you so much, Edward.
Thank you, Vicky. See you soon. Bye-bye, all of you.
Take care. Bye.